Hello again. So let's continue with the fracturing setup, and I've ended up creating the fracture for these guys, I believe, and then I said that I'm gonna be doing the rest, and I did that. So here I have the motifs, and I did a polycap, same setup, same everything, fractured them, and then the pillars as well, this structure, the top, I have these guys, the ceiling, and then the top, this guy, I've grouped this to be top wall ceiling and top wall inside. So these two guys here, and they're in separate groups, and then I'm merging them again, and I'm doing a polycap on them to fix this, and again scatter. I scattered 600 points here, and then the wood structure for these guys, I didn't do anything fancy about them, just broke them in this manner with VDB, and I put down 1,000 points. So I'm gonna merge all these guys together. Okay. Let's see. Why is that? Yep. And this is the fracture result. Okay. And now we're missing the wood. And so before I isolate the wood, I want to create something super quick to show you guys the idea. And I'm gonna change this to 10. Maybe. Let's say this is a wood plank. Alright, let's make it smaller. This is a wood plank, okay? And I'm gonna do a VDB from polygon, scatter some points, um, 100, and then put down a Voronoi fracture. Well, the way the wood, if I put down a visualize, well, the way the wood gets fractured is in splinter form. So it's like long, elongated splinters that have the same, basically, the same orientation of the piece, of the wood piece. And this doesn't look like anything like that. Doesn't look like wood splinter. And the trick to do that is using a transform. So we're gonna put down a transform before these two guys here, and I'm gonna transform it in the axis that I want it to be, that I want the splinters to be at. And so I've scaled it to 0.0 to 0.1, and now I'm fracturing it in that position, and I'm gonna apply the translation back. So I copied that node, and there is this invert transformation here. I'm gonna click that. I'm gonna view the result. Interesting. Now we're getting these elongated pieces. So let me increase that even more, and let me scale it even further. Let's try 0.05, and I'm gonna copy this and paste it here. Paste copied relative. So we get always the same thing. And you can see now we have these splinters, and there's a handy node to view the interior. It's called an exploded view. Hit tab, exploded view, and I'm gonna connect that. And it's gonna basically move them apart based on the centroid of the primitive. It's gonna create a vector and move them away. And you can see each one of them is a splinter like. So that's how we are going to do the wood. We're gonna scale each piece based on its orientation to a very small value, and then fracture it in that position and put it back. So let's isolate the wood, and I'm gonna put down a blast node. Connect this guy. Move this away, and I called it wood floor, and delete one selected, and these my guys. And I've also, so we need to be able to scale each one based on its own orientation, and each one of these guys have its own orientation. So I've created groups because I have control, and if you don't, you can always ask the department that you're working with to say, hey, I need groups, I need to be able to tell which one is vertical, which one is perpendicular, and so on and so forth. We can figure out something automatic, but I want to show you another trick that you guys will like probably. So I've created groups for each one of these guys, okay, and I've called them wood holder horizontal, wood holder vertical. The other one, sorry, wood planks for these guys, and then another one called wood holder horizontal. So these guys, okay? This is the entire structure. But we need to be able, especially this guy, if we figure out the orientation for these guys, you know, it's a one vector, we can scale along that, but it's much trickier with these guys. How are you gonna fix that here? Well, if you look at the original setup here, it was this way. It was this way before the bend, okay? And so if we store this position before we bend it, we can always retrieve it. And so that's what I did. I created a rest position. Okay, this is the copy, after the copy. And I created a rest position here. And that will copy the P to the rest. Okay, so we have a copy of that. Cool, and I'm gonna go back, and this is the new result. And before I change this, before I mess this up as well, I want to create a rest, but because the rest is occupied, I'm going to create a new one, and I'm gonna call it v position bend, and this is my result of the geometry bend. Okay, I'm gonna call it storing bend position, and I'm gonna create another one just to separate both of them. I'm gonna call it restoring rest. Let's see what happened. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna say v at p equal v at rest. Boom, we have this now. So if I look at my groups now, it's much easier. I can simply put down a transform node and scale these guys along a vector that I define. Okay. Okay, so these two guys here have the same orientation, so I'm gonna group them together and break them together. And this guy, now it was like this, bend, and now it is this way. Okay, if I uncheck the P, you can see where they are. So the idea is we're gonna break them this way and then reapply the inverse of that transformation. And so I'm going to first put down a polycap because I saw that some of the geo, like these guys, are not capped. So I'm gonna put down a polycap for this. Cool, and for this too, and I'm gonna merge both of them, and I'm gonna put down a transform node here, and let's see, what axis do we want to transform it at? We want to use the z-axis, so let's put 0.1, and let's put a VDB from polygon and get a volume out of these guys, and then scatter some points. Let's see, 1002, this is my old number, and I'm gonna uncheck this. I don't want to relax the points because, yeah, it's sometimes it's better to explore various point ordering, and I find it better to turn this off, and it is off in all the other guys, I believe, as well. Not all for all of them, but it's an option to try. So put down a Voronoi fracture, and now we should have our pieces. Let's visualize them, and then I'm gonna copy this, paste it back, and click Convert Transformation. Cool. So now we have this guy. To save some time, I'm gonna skip this guy, okay, because it's the same idea. And basically what I need to do at this point is restore P, which we have stored in this guy. So I'm gonna copy this, paste it here, and I'm gonna say my new P is equal my current position bend, and that will place the wood at the correct position. Cool. So let me copy the section for the other one so you guys can see it. You guys can see it all together, and I'm going to merge them all here. It's cooking, it's converting the new planks or whatever geometry we gave it. And let me check visualized pieces. So we added this guy, and for this guy I've scaled it down along the y-axis. Yeah, along the y-axis, and then I fractured it that way and put it back. So we have these pieces. You guys of course can explore any options you want, but you get the idea. Okay, so now we have wood fracturing, and we're gonna simply merge this on, and we are done with fracturing the cathedral. The next step is we're gonna start creating the constraint network, and that's where things are going to get more interesting. Cool. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.